Hello and welcome back. We are in a beautiful series called 6 Simple Intentions for Staying Sane during COVID-19, and I'm adding beyond that. We're entering into a new normal. I feel like the arc has opened and we have been invited out into a new world. I must admit that I am far more anxious as the world is reopening than when the world was shutting down and we were called to shelter in place. I was shocked. I was like, what's that going to be like? But now as the world is reopening and we're given some guidelines and some extensions, and we can go back to hair salons and gyms and gather, still only in Virginia, groups of 10 or less, but it's causing me a great deal of anxiety thinking, what if they have COVID? What if they have COVID? What if I touch that person? What if it's like this walking invisible threat every day. So what do we do with all of that anxiety, with all of that fear? Because I'm one that wants to overcome fear and not live from a posture of fear. And so what do we do with that? Well, we're just going to keep moving through our steps. That's what we're going to do. I am here to give you tools, and then when you practice those tools, I am here to really assure you that growth happens when you have healthy emotional tools in your hand. So our first intention that will lead us to sanity, and I chose the word sanity intentionally. It means the ability to think and behave in a normal, rational manner. The key being rational, operating from our frontal lobe, our prefrontal cortex, part of the brain that is clear-headed, rational thinking, responsive. We want to live more from that area than from our limbic system, our amygdala particularly, where we're always in a threat state. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, okay, or faint as some say. In my next book, I'm adding a flow state, and where we can actually learn to flow with a spiritual resilience, a capacity to bounce back from difficult, negative situations, obstacles, in a way that gives us a deeper knowledge of self and God, so that we continue to get stronger every day. So here in the Stronger Everyday community, we have been working through these 6 intentions. The first one, and this is based on COVID, the acronym. We want to calm our nervous system. How do we calm our nervous system? Well, go back and listen to that intention and you will have all of the information you need to practice. We set the intention, I am capable of calming my nervous system. I am calm inside, especially in my mental loops, even when chaos is all around me. We've moved on to intention 2, which is open your heart, mind, and soul and body to new daily rhythms and rituals. A rhythm is a strong, regular pattern of movement or sound. And for the sake of our mental health, we're saying that a rhythm is a strong, regular pattern of thinking and processing. Yes. So I asked a piercing question to myself first always. What patterns are not serving me anymore? What patterns are being revealed during this global pandemic, in this sheltering in place, in this quarantine, in this isolation, in this disconnection from disordered attachments and the outside world? What's being revealed to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's not serving my life anymore, that's not leading me on a path of growth, that's not leading me closer to God, that's not leading me to be a stronger woman in the middle of my sphere of influence? What is taking me down a bad path? What is not healthy? This was a time of introspection, so go back and listen to intention 2. 3, we visit today, and it starts with V, voice your needs clearly and compassionately. This one's been a hard one for me. If you know anything about the Enneagram, I'm a 2 and I'm a subtype social 2. So for me, I've really never considered my needs. As I put on my personality, remember personality being how we show up for life, our false sense of self, basically. And you can go to the podcast, Speak Healing Words, and learn so much more about true self, false self, authenticity. I got lost somewhere in my family of origins and in my growth as an adolescent. I got lost, and I didn't know how to voice my needs. I really just got lost, and I became like a chameleon who just turned into whatever situation I was in, man. I was just that, I just took on the shape and shade. I was a shapeshifter, as they say about Enneagram 2s. And I don't like that about myself at all. And so once again, in this global pandemic has been an opportunity to go, that pattern doesn't serve me anymore. I need to voice my needs clearly and compassionately. So what does that look like? What does that mean? How do we do that? Well, it's the third tenet of our threefold cord of emotional health and wellness. Healthy sense of self, healthy behavior patterns, healthy communication skills. We're not given these, most of us, in life and in school, unless we are a communication major. We probably all, if we went to college or even in high school, took Communication 101. But most of us, we don't excel in the area of strong communication patterns. And that includes our verbal language and our nonverbal, with nonverbal making up 83, some say 93% of all communication, with the most important part of our communication, our tone of voice, our prosody, how we say what we say makes more difference than what we say, how we say it, how it comes out of our mouth. So first and foremost, I always go here with my clients, you got to observe and be aware of your nonverbals, particularly your tone of voice. Is it harsh? Is it compassionate? So that's why I put voice your needs clearly and compassionately. If you go to the podcast, you'll hear the anatomy of yelling. We gave a whole episode to that, and how when someone yells at you, you don't hear words at all. It goes into your ear, your inner ear, and it has this solar quality of harshness, of roughness. And it just makes you tune out anything. And it goes straight into your amygdala, your fight, flight, or freeze. So yelling doesn't serve anyone. Anger, unbridled anger doesn't serve anyone. So first step, basic step. And because we're only here for a very short time, this step is the first primary step to consider your prosody, your tone of voice. How are you saying things to people? What does your face look like? They say that our resting bitchy face, we've got to soften our face. I have very intense eyes, so I've been told. And so a lot of people are like, oh man, you just pierce. It's like you look right through me. I had to pay attention. I don't want to scare people. So I want to soften myself. And I just had to push my shoulders down because I realized I was tensing up talking about roughness and harshness and yelling. Just even talking about it made me have a different posture. So we want to just be aware. The very first step of emotional healing is awareness. Second step I do with my clients anyway, and I did with my life and my family, is the book Say What You Mean, a mindful approach to nonviolent communication, written by Oren J. Sofer. How to find your voice. Yeah, I'm telling you to use your voice. Well, if you're like me, I had to find my voice. It was lost. I didn't know. I had a different voice for any group I was with. I would become what they want me to become. We have to find our voice, speak our truth, and listen deeply. It's such a good book. There is a beautiful approach called Nonviolent Communication, and Oren J. Sofer has made that approach very user-friendly, if you will. So I'm just going to read this one small section since we're talking about how to voice our needs or make a request known. And before I do, I listened to a sermon on Sunday, Good Shepherd, New York, and it was so powerful. And it was so in line with what we've been talking about here. I just smiled. And the pastor was sharing about a tete-a-tete, a confrontation, an altercation he had had with his wife earlier in the week. And he said that she said to him, "I'm telling you what I need. I need you to go change the baby's diaper." And he was like, "But it doesn't make any sense for me to do that. It's not efficient. I'm gonna go all the way back to the bedroom and then come all the way back when you're already gonna go back to the bedroom to feed the baby. So just change the baby." He's just going on. And she's like, "I need you to change the baby's diaper. I do not need an efficiency report." I'm adding that part. And he said, "What?" And she says, healthy people are known for being able to say what they need. I just love that because I thought that's so, so good. So there's no false expectations that the other person just knows what you need. How many arguments in a marriage or relationships or friendships has that caused? I can't read your mind. It's one of the biggest things I hear in marriage therapy, my work. So in this beautiful user-friendly guide to nonviolent communication, Oren Sofer writes, "In my early 20s, a good friend passed along a piece of advice he'd received from his dad. Upon graduating from high school, his father had said, 'I'll tell you a little secret to life. If you want something, ask for it.'" I'm going to say that again. I'm going to tell you a little secret for life. Yeah, lean in, come a little closer. If you want something, ask for it. I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. Isn't that crazy? If you want something, ask for it. Now, I remember telling one of my children that. She reminds me that I did, and so that's why she's so good at clearly voicing her needs and voicing them with compassion. This is a central principle behind making requests. Making clear requests is fairly common. Listen to any conversation and see how often a speaker ends a statement by asking for what they'd like to hear back or see happen next. How many times have you shared something important only to have the other person take the conversation in a totally different direction? How many times? Without telling someone what we'd like to hear back, they are left to guess or to respond however they please. So the principle here that he's stating is, the clearer we are about what we want and why, the more creative we can be about how to make it happen. By contrast, following a statement with a request lets others know how they can help and offers a concrete idea for where to go next in the conversation. It's illuminating to see the power of making requests. I'm thinking of the scripture, make your requests known. This is so biblical. Make your requests known. And God said, I will supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory. As one student of mine commented, what was most frustrating was realizing that I wasn't getting what I wanted simply because I wasn't letting others know what I needed. A request is a question about one's willingness to perform a specific action to meet needs. Requests are strategies and are distinct from demands. I'm going to read one more little story he writes in this book called No Spilling. Some time ago, I was at an airport waiting to board a plane and saw a mother with two little girls. The older child, no more than 5 or 6 years old, was holding a large drink with a straw. The mother said to her with agitation in her voice, there's that prosody, "Don't spill it." I watched the young girl's body tighten with anxiety, trying to figure out how to prevent further rebukes by not spilling the drink. How might it have been if the mother had said, "Sweetie, that's a very big drink, and I'm concerned it might spill. Can you hold it carefully with 2 hands?" This is such a brilliant example, because it is in the silliest, most simplest of moments where we have the opportunity to create heightened anxiety in another person, or to continue to offer them this ease, this calming of the nervous system. This mother, the second approach to this is not going to upset the nervous system of that child and make that child on edge. If we said, "Sweetie, that's a big drink and I'm concerned it might spill. Can you hold it carefully with 2 hands?" Does the second approach take more thought? Yes. Does the second approach require us to be really living out of our prefrontal cortex? And yes. With such a request, the daughter would have had specific instructions for what to do, making it clearer and easier to meet the request. Request gauge another's willingness to help or agree to our strategy. To make this as clear as possible, which is another reason I love this book so much, it's best to formulate requests with 3 qualities. Positive. Requests state what we do want rather than what we don't want. 2, specific. Requests are concrete and doable rather than vague or abstract. 3, flexible. Requests are distinct from demands. They offer a suggestion for how to move forward with openness to other ideas. Making requests can be challenging. As I just said, it does require a lot more prefrontal rational thinking, but that's why we're here, to learn how to move through our life from a stature, a position, a posture of sanity, sound mental health, not from a position of being fractured and frazzled and falling apart all the time because we're overworked, we're overbusy, we're hyper-connected. Our ability to make a request positive is based on our capacity to identify needs and then to offer a strategy that might meet them. Making a request that is specific rests upon our ability to find clear observations, concrete behaviors we are seeking, and the flexibility that is at the heart of a request comes from understanding our needs, being sensitive to the needs of others, and being creative enough to find more than one strategy to meet all of the needs present. Okay, here are 3 short examples. So, not positive. Don't talk to me that way. Well, if you requested, it would be, would you be willing to lower your voice, or maybe can we just take a break for a minute? This is good stuff. All right, not specific. Will you love me more? When we put it in the form of a request, it is, when you come home, can you try to remember to look me in the eyes and say hello? It would make all the difference. It would just mean so much to me. Wow. When we master this technique, which probably will take our whole entire lifetime, our lives are going to be so much richer. Third one, not flexible, is we have to talk. Oh my gosh. When someone says that to me, I go right into my amygdala. I go right into fight, flight, or freeze. I want to throw up. My heart starts racing. Yeah. If you make it a request, it might sound like this. Can we find some time together to sit down and talk about things? Or if not, do you have ideas how we can sort this out? It's a little softer, for sure. And you might have your own ideas. So here's a practice that you can implement today, and it's listening for request. As you move through your day, pay attention to the presence or absence of request. How often do people, yourself included, let others know what they'd like to hear back. How often, let me repeat that, how often do people, yourself pointing the finger always to ourselves first, how often do people let others know what they'd like to hear back? When is it implicit, which means it's just you're supposed to get it? You're just supposed to miraculously know in your mind, I get it. When a person does make a request, is it positive, specific, and flexible? So good. So good. I am implementing that today. So as far as our intention then for our third, voice your needs clearly and compassionately, I think it's just got to be simply I use my voice to speak my needs clearly and compassionately. I use my voice clearly. I voice my needs clearly and compassionately. I voice my needs clearly and compassionately. So I want to know how you're doing with this. Please join our online community, which is on Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, then we really want to make sure we connect through the e-newsletter. Just go to JanelleReardon.com, click that pink bar at the top, and you'll also get a lovely freebie of 7 days of some love being sent to your inbox with just a short word of encouragement that you can listen to in the morning to get you fired up. So voice your needs clearly and compassionately. And I will see you when we move on to intention 4.